The 17th day of January, and we're so happy to have you here with us inside the Now Morning Show. It's time for your spotlight on Now. Kimberly D'Souza has it.
Now, the 7th annual staging of Huawei's flagship corporate global responsibility initiative, the Seeds for the Future program, is currently underway. Representatives from Huawei and students are in Panama for a Seeds for the Future Integration Week at the Huawei Panama Innovation Center. And so joining us all the way from Panama this morning is Public Relations Manager at Huawei, Tricia Henry, and Computer Engineering student at UTT, Ms. Abigail Rambaran. Ladies, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Panama. How is Panama looking this morning?
Well, it's actually an hour behind Trinidad, so it is now about 5:30 a.m. So it's dark. It's not looking very bright at this point, but the weather has been lovely. It's been really, really lovely the last couple of days we've been here.
Nice. So nice to hear, Tricia. Well, I'm going to come to you first. Tell us about, of course, the Seeds for the Future program. I know it targets students. Tell us exactly what type of students it targets. And, of course, what do you kind of want to get out of this program for the students?
Sure. So the Seeds for the Future program is actually Huawei's biggest corporate global responsibility program, where we actually want to encourage and engage university students who are studying ICT programs, but also students who are outside of the ICT field but have an interest in ICT. This is actually part of our ICT talent development initiative, because what we see is that there are so many jobs that are going to be available in the ICT field. I think the pandemic has also shown us that there are many opportunities for utilizing technology, and there are going to be lots and lots of opportunities for young people to create jobs, to be part of the whole digital transformation thrust. And at Huawei, we definitely want to be part of that as well by helping to train young people. Huawei is one of the largest ICT global technology companies in the world, and we want to make sure that we are transferring that expertise in ICT to our young people so that they in turn can come back to their countries and give back to their countries in terms of digital development and really enhancing that talent. So in Trinidad and Tobago, we've actually been doing the Seeds for the Future program for 7 years, and we've had about 90 students who have participated in the program. Abigail, who's next to me, is one of them who participated last year in 2022. And so we really are excited to continue having these students from the University of the West Indies and the University of Trinidad and Tobago participate in the program.
So the cohort that we currently have, is that the 2022 cohort moving into this year, or is this a new cohort for 2023?
This is the 2022 cohort who completed the program last year, November 7th to 14th was the duration of the program. So we had a graduation ceremony for them in January, and the top 3 students, we had 20 students in total from UE and UTT. The top 3 students were actually awarded the opportunity to come to our innovation center here in Panama, which is Panama's office is actually our regional headquarters for Huawei in the Latin America and Caribbean region. So they're here actually together with students from Jamaica and Suriname who also participated in the program at the same time. So it's our Caribbean Integration Week for the students.
Nice. Well, Abigail, I'm coming to you. First of all, congratulations on being one of the 3 top students from the program. I wanted to find out from you, of course, the reason for joining the program in the first place, and of course, how has your experience been thus far?
So my reason for joining the program, UTT came to me and told me, hey, Huawei is doing this outreach program. And then they told us that there were going to be internships after. So I saw it as like a way to make my resume better and to broaden my network and maybe get a job afterwards. And then being in the program was very mind-opening. I learned a lot just from Huawei's iLearning platform. We covered some subjects such as like 5G, digital transformation, cloud computing, etc. And then we also learned a bit about just silent operations happening in Trinidad and Tobago and like new technologies that are coming out that we actually didn't know that was happening. So that was very interesting to know that we're also very good and on track to developing as a country.
Yeah, very nice. Now I know that you mentioned, of course, employment is one of the things that you're looking for after. But how do you think this training can help you, whether it be in your career path or even in with your future endeavors?
So actually, one of these subjects we covered for Huawei, I have a subject next semester in my school doing it. So I'm actually very excited to have just a little bit of prior knowledge going into that.
Yeah.
And then for my career, I've learned a bunch of time management skills working under pressure, like doing Huawei's Tech for Good project, as well as doing my final projects for school, doing those. And then I learned a lot about like leadership skills, which will come in handy a lot.
Yes, I would imagine. Now, Trisha, I know you mentioned, of course, the focus on ICT, but is it also open to STEM on the whole, like for those who are studying engineering and mathematics and that sort of thing?
Correct. Yes. So it is actually open to STEM students, science, technology, engineering, and math. We actually also have students who there's a student from Jamaica who's with us here in Panama who's studying actuary science. So it's a very wide group because those students actually also just have an interest in ICT as well, and they see how they can apply what they're learning to their own career paths. And that's really the point of technology, is that it isn't just limited to computer science and computer engineering. Technology is actually very broad and wide, and it touches almost every single industry around the world. So we
Yeah.
really want to encourage students to have that interest in technology and seeing how they can develop their own careers to participate in the program. As Abigail mentioned, it's also a program that we utilize to encourage students to understand things like leadership, time management, teamwork, those important things. Because what we also want to do is prepare work ready students. So, in addition to giving them the opportunity to learn practical skills that they can apply, that they can add to the theory that they've learned in university and apply to real life. We also want to give them some skills for going into the work environment that help them be more work ready when they do come in. So if it's maybe Huawei or another company, or maybe even if they start their own businesses, they
Yeah.
have that kind of experience as well. So here in Panama, we actually have some training that's going on with them, and they are being trained in leadership. They also are being trained in understanding the importance of women in ICT. That Canto actually joined us for that. We
Yes.
have the University Tech de Monterrey from Mexico, who's also doing some training with them as well. So it's really a very, very holistic program, and it's not just limited to the science and the tech, but it's
Yeah.
also about understanding how to apply that to everyday life. And it's also cultural sharing as well. So the students are
Now,
able to learn more about
now,
each
Trisha,
other.
quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know you had mentioned, okay, so you are preparing them for the world of work. How easy then is it from Huawei to choose from this pool of students to actually employ in the company? And has that been done before?
We actually have. So Huawei also has an internship program that's run by our HR department. And that internship program it's actually competitive. You do have to apply for it. But what we do is to give the opportunity to our Seeds for the Future to make sure that they are aware of this program to apply so that they can interview as well. And we have actually had quite a number of seeds from the previous years participate in this internship. It's a 6-month paid internship, and they are able to come and be mentored by some of the top persons in Huawei in terms of employment. And
Yeah.
some of them, if we do have an opening afterwards, can actually come in and work at Huawei following this.
Yeah, and the students, because I think I remember Abigail said that when she's going back to school. So the cohort that you have now, they are current university students that you're training to send back into university with that knowledge, of course, of ICT and STEM.
Correct. Yes. So we usually take students who are within their second or sometimes their final years, because what we find is that that helps them to really go back and apply to the theory what they've learned. Following that, the internship is really for persons who have just left university, so that they can come and have that opportunity maybe to be employed at Huawei as part of that internship program. But the
Right.
Seeds for the Future really is the training ground that we put together and we set up so that the students can actually get that knowledge transfer and learn practical skills that they can apply to the theory as well.
Yeah. Abigail, any university students who's looking on now, any words of advice you can give them about the program? Any words in terms of should they join the program, should they not join the program? I mean, any words of advice for them at all?
Definitely, I would say join the program, even though that it was very, it is a lot of hard work to get into the program and also just like keeping up with all of the work, but it was so worth it. I definitely would tell them to join the program and just try their best. Um, and keep an open mind, especially when working with new teams, because you would be grouped with people that you don't know. But yeah, just good luck to everyone.
Love it. And Trisha, before we go, just tell us exactly when is the next cohort about to begin? And if anybody's looking, how can they apply for that one?
So we actually are planning for this year. So we don't have the exact dates as yet. We're looking at maybe within the third or fourth quarter of this year. And I should mention the program when it initially started was actually an in-person program where we took students to China, to our headquarters in China for 2 weeks. But since the pandemic, obviously, we have not been able to do that. So we have brought the program online. But now that things are opening back up, we're looking to see, what are some of the opportunities. So that's why this year the students were actually able, the top 3 were able to come to Panama, to our office here in Panama and participate. So look out for some announcements later on. We are going to be letting you guys know when the applications are going to be open for the university students to apply.
Yeah. And Trisha, final thoughts before we go.
Well, I think it's so amazing to work with university students. It's amazing to see the excitement. I absolutely love the fact that it is such a cultural exchange as well, and that these students are learning so much from each other and about each other's countries. And they're also learning a lot about Huawei as well. That's really important for us to help them to understand what we do in the company. A lot of people just know us for devices, but we do so many more things in the carrier space, in the enterprise business space. So it's really a good opportunity for them to learn and also to learn what careers can be out there for them as well.
Yeah. Well, Trisha, Abigail, thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show. I hope that you ladies can get a little bit of rest before you start your day. But again, thank you so much and have a great time in Panama.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you so much. And you
Of
have a
course.
wonderful day as well.
You
Take
too.
care.
And that was the Public Relations Manager at Huawei, Ms. Trisha Henry. And of course, one of the top 3 students from the Seed for the Future program, Ms. Abigail Rambaran, joining us all the way from Panama.